Hi. So what we have here, we have a problem from section 1.2, and we're kind of going over the Polyas processes for understanding math and solving the problem. So the problem that we have in question is you're walking in the country and you pass a field full of pigs and ducks. After a quick count, you determine that there are 27 heads in the field and 76 feet. How many of each animal are there? Okay, so we've got to pretty much dissect this problem and see where to go from here. So first things first, understand the problem. Well, the problem is actually it's telling us a good bit of information, but what the question is asking for is how many of each animal are there. So whenever we come to step one, we want to understand what the question is actually asking us to do. So it's actually asking us to find the number of each animal in the field. Okay. So in order for us to figure out how much of each animal there is in the field, we've got to go through some possibilities. Okay, so we got to see, is there a pattern to what we're seeing? Okay, that's the hard part. That's what a lot of students struggle with. So step two of Polyas process is to develop a plan. Now, of course, you can write out your plan here, but in step three, we that's kind of what we're doing. We're kind of carrying out the plan. We're trying to see, can we find a pattern? Okay, that's pretty much what the plan is. Can we find a pattern to this problem? So, kind of have to think about it for a little bit. Ducks, they waddle on 2 feet with, I hope, one head. Okay. Pigs have 4 feet with, yet again, I hope, one head. Okay. So let's go back to the problem at hand. It tells us that there are 27 heads in the field and 76 feet in the field. So let's think about some possibilities here. So we're just going through some scenarios. So how many feet do 27 ducks have and 0 pigs have? Okay, so we're just looking at feet. So if you're just looking at feet, 27 ducks, each duck has 2 feet. So that means if you're looking at just duck feet, we have 54 feet. And then how many feet do 0 pigs have? Well, they should have 0. So we have 54. That's one possible scenario. Now the next one. How many feet do 26 ducks have and 1 pig have? Okay, so if each duck has 2 feet, we have 26 of them. Well, that would be what? Not 42, I apologize. That would be 52 feet. And 1 pig has 4 feet. So that should give us a possibility of 56 feet. Okay, we're just doing feet now. Because we know each animal has 1 head. Okay, but the feet, since each animal has different feet, that's why we're going through these scenarios with the feet, because the feet make it a little bit more complicated. So if we have 25 ducks, well, that means we have 50 feet. And 2 pigs, since each pig has 4 feet, if we got 2 of them, that would be 8 feet. So 50 feet plus 8 feet, well, that should give us 58 feet. Okay? Now, you kind of have to think about this for a little bit. All right? If you're looking at these numbers on the side here, 54, 56, and 58, all right? What we see is that for every head that we add, okay? So like for instance, we had 27 ducks, so we have duck heads. We have 0 pig heads. But we have 26 duck heads and 1 pig head. 25 duck heads and 2 pig heads, and so on. Okay? So as the number of ducks decrease, the number of pigs increase. But here's the interesting part. The 54, 56, and 58 increase by 2. Okay? So for every pig that we include in our scenario, we have to add 2 feet to 54. Okay? Hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. Let me kind of go over that again. If we start off with 27 ducks, then that means we should have 0 feet. Okay? Because the original problem says 27 heads. Okay? If we start off with 26 ducks, then that means we have to have 1 more head to bring us to 27 heads. If we start off with 25 ducks, then we have to add 2 more heads to get to 27. Let's keep on going. If we do 24 ducks, then we have to add 3 heads. 23 ducks, 4 heads, so on and so forth. We have to see 27 heads in the field. So, the less ducks we have, the more pigs we have, the number of feet that we have increased by 2. Okay? So, when we set up our equation, thought I had stuff written down here. Okay. So when we set up your equation, our starting point would be this 54 here. Okay? So if we start off at 54, the more pigs that we have, the number increases by 2. So if it increases by 2, that means we can take our starting value and multiply it by 2, because we're increasing by 2 every single time. Okay, so we would have our our expression would be 2x plus 54. And if you look at it, the 54, 56, and 58 correspond to the amount of feet we see in the field. So our equation is going to be in terms of the feet that you see in the field. So 2x plus 54 should equal what our problem says, 76 feet. Okay? So now that we set up our equation, we can now solve the problem. So, when we solve the problem, we got 2x plus 54 equals 76. We can now subtract 54 on both sides. So we would have 2x equals 76 minus 54. It's rather early in the morning, and I have not had my coffee yet. 22. So if you divide both sides by 2 to isolate that x value, we would have your x value equaling 11. All right? So, what this says is that we have 11 pigs in the field. Well, why in the world are we why does it say we're dealing with pigs? Well, as we talked about earlier, yeah, we started off with ducks, but the more pigs we add, we don't know how many pigs we're going to end up with. That's the unknown. That's where the variable comes in. We started off with ducks, but there's really no starting point for the pigs. So in this particular equation, your pigs would be represented by your x value. So when we solve for x, we see that we're going to end up with 11 pigs. All right. So if we end up, and actually let me write this out for you. If we end up with 11 pigs, well, we know that a pig has one head. Okay, so that means we have 11 heads. In the problem, it says that we have a total of 27 heads. So if we have 11 heads, and we're trying to figure out another missing quantity, let's say ducks, I mean, that makes sense. 11 heads, let me rewrite that as pigs. There we go. That makes a little bit more sense. We have 11 pigs. We don't know how many ducks, but we know all total in our problem that we have 27 heads. So, to find out the amount of ducks we have, we subtract both sides by 11 pigs. Well, what that says is that the number of ducks we have, should equal 16. And that's how we can figure out how many of each animal there is in the field. The bottom line for this problem, you have to figure out the pattern. There's always going to be a pattern to these types of problems. And a lot of students do struggle with the patterns. Okay? So as always, guys, let me know if you have any questions of any kind. This is just one of the first videos of the semester. Please, please, please come at me with questions. I'm happy to help, okay? So until next time, see you later.